Hi guys, so I have a cold. Well, I apologize already, but I wanted to talk about today a little bit about Congo, Sudan, and keeping Africa in your activism. I've already done a video about keeping Africa in your activism already, partially, but I'm going to kind of further reiterate why it's important to do so. Like recently in Congo, and don't get me wrong, I need to read and research a lot more of this, but just starting the conversation, for example, and touching on the basics that we already know about Congo and Africa and Western imperialism, etc. But recently there is news coming out of like so much essay of like women in Congo right now. Um, and something that we all need to understand is that in wars and conflicts and all these things, women and children are like of the biggest threat for all of this. Like we take the short end of the stick for all of this shit. And um it's just it's more than sad, it's very infuriating actually that life is so dehumanized in Africa and in Congo, to where that like um especially the value of women is just non-existent. Even in Sudan recently, where there was women who were killing themselves just to like not be essayed. And so we really have to keep putting emphasis on that. Like honestly, it makes me feel like it goes hand in hand with the femicide around the world. A lot of times, as women in the Western imperialism side, we think that shit can't happen where we are also. But all this stuff interconnects, because when we let violence go down one place, then it's unchecked everywhere, really. And so, yeah, it's very disheartening. And this is what happens when, like, human beings are totally dehumanized. Like, we know in Congo that they're using human beings to actually, like, mine the things that we need for phones, for Tesla. If y'all are not boycotting that so far, y'all better boycott Elon Musk ass. And there are people starting to do it more, but I don't think it's enough. I think even for Sudan that we need to boycott Dubai. Still, there's still artists trying to go to Dubai, like putting pressure, and bringing emphasis to how children and women are like of the most threat in conflicts. And I was gonna say under the umbrella of patriarchy, which is majority of the world, and how it interconnects with patriarchy everywhere, is understanding that like this is in favor of the patriarchy. I'm not saying that men aren't affected in conflict and war, but because it's perpetuated by like war is a man's problem basically. And we are all like casualties in that war, casualties in these problems. um and so really it's not enough men that even care about these problems. um but we need to put emphasis on the reason it helps patriarchy is because it's like a mass killing of women in Sudan, and a mass genocide of women in Congo, where they essayed the woman and also set light to the prison that they were in, that they raided. And it's no coincidence, like when we talk about honoring the divine feminine. I made an article recently of why there's so much jealousy or hatred to divine feminine. Like this goes hand in hand with the women who are under suppression in Taliban. Even like it all interconnects, and how our rights are being stripped away in the US even. And so it's all working together and cohesively. And so we should be in way more panic. I know women understand what I'm saying, but we need also everyone to understand this, what's happening. Like it also helps men to understand that patriarchy is like the pinnacle of all this shit at the end of the day. And because when I see stories come out like that in a spiritual sense, I'm like, okay, this just seems like a whole genocide of women. No matter what way you look at it, it's like it's gonna be a mass genocide of women and the children. So it's just very eerie in that way. And just the dehumanization of black people in general. Like if we have really bad dehumanization in Congo and Africa, and also in America and mass incarceration, like no black body anywhere is seen as valid basically. Right, we think we're valid, we think we're safe, but it makes us all that much more unsafe, for example. And I need black people to understand that, and also non-black people to understand that. And we're so dehumanized, and we're still taught to like just wait our turn for validity, or like to like for freedom. And again, I touched on the video before, like if black people aren't free, nobody's free, because that's the roots of a lot of things and a lot of issues. And if we talk about even weakening the Western imperial core, like that can't happen if we keep getting resources from other countries, like coffee, our freaking comforts, like phones and everything. Like that's not weakened yet. And so if we keep letting like our comforts outweigh like human life, this is what we continue to get. And it's not even just abroad, it's just even like we're telling ourselves at home that our lives don't matter enough more than all this shit. And so again, it all interconnects. And yeah, no one can be free if we keep waiting for black people to even do it all on our own. Because the more people get off on black enslavement, even our own people, as long as people are cool with black enslavement, then it's like we can't really progress. Even in the times of internet and all this stuff, we can't progress. And it's just that reminder, like we need to go harder, and we need to do more. We need to put money and resources in these places, I think, too, intuitively, but also like do more in our advocacy, and also in our boycotting power, and also just in our, again, spreading the news and educating. Like a lot of us have skills where we can teach. Like I'm not most equipped about genocide and women, but I know someone else out there is, and I'm just here to trigger that. And so thinking of your skills of like, what can I offer, what can I do, and using that for black lives, because they matter too. So yeah, that's just food for thought. And if you're not enraged, then like you have lost all empathy. And I know it takes kind of a lot sometimes when we're so desensitized to black death. But we have to get past that. Like we have to wake up, because again, Western imperialism is still so strong because they're leeching off of Africa and all these other foreign places. And so we got to hit the core a little bit harder, and like weaken that shit a little bit more, because yeah, we're protesting even, but like we need to weaken so many things. So yeah, thinking about the whole picture, stuff to think about.